Today we're going to talk about the overall program analysis for NBA basketball, National Basketball Association in the United States. Generally, for you coaches, we're going to go over 4 main points: the performance healthcare aspect of the program, the player development aspect of the program, and before that we'll talk about the offensive and defensive analysis for this program. Generally what we see for the performance healthcare component is that healthier teams are the most successful teams. And in player development, we intend to increase or enhance the most impactful skills for the offensive and defensive analyses that we're after, the factors to success and the metrics for success. And then for all of these, what we're generally trying to do is have player specificity. We want to tailor our program to the analyses that we have for player needs and to their talents. So as an overall construct of the program analysis, it's very important that we utilize what we have in terms of our player personnel and tailor the needs for our program based on the kind of personnel that we have. The first aspect of our program analysis that we want to address is the performance healthcare aspect. As you can see from this graph, we have the association between wins and success, or however you measure success, in this case wins, and the dearth of injury, or the lack of injury. So the fewer injuries generally correlate with wins and success in the NBA. As you can see here, this is data from the last roughly 10 years in the NBA. And each one of these dots correlates with a color code here. First of all, the green dots correlate with teams that did not make the playoffs. And as you can see, they're generally grouped around the most injured area, and then as you can see, they have the least amount of wins. Here, the red dots correlate with playoffs made, teams that made the playoffs. So 16 of those teams, and 16 of these dots, as you can see, are grouped around the area where there's, for the most wins here, is the dearth of injury. And as you can see, the conference finalists are generally grouped in this area right here. So this quadrant with the lack of injury correlates pretty well with success. And that's what we're after here in this aspect of the performance analysis. The top 5 time loss injuries is what we want to inhibit or mitigate. The top most frequent injuries that we see in the NBA are lateral ankle sprains, patellar tendinosis, hamstring injury, and lumbar spine injuries. So we have to tailor our program to eliminate or mitigate those injuries. The total time loss injuries, with the largest time loss in terms of total length of time out or away from sport, are ACLs and Achilles ruptures. And this one is the patellar tendon, which is the highest total volume loss. We want to prevent these. Prevention is a word that's often misused. The better word is mitigate, but in our minds, that's what we're trying to do, is prevent those types of injuries so that we can achieve success and reach these areas that we want, which is the conference finals. The next most important aspect, or maybe the most important aspect after having a healthy team, are the 5 factors to success that we've identified with successful teams. We have an offensive analysis and defensive analysis. These factors are offensive rebounding percentages, free throw rate, effective field goal percentage, turnover percentage, and then offensive and defensive shooting. Those are percentages, and what we'll look at strategy as well. To make it very simple, we want to increase some of these metrics for our own gain and decrease these the rate of these metrics for the opponent. So we want to increase our offensive rebounding rate. We want to decrease the offensive rebounding rate for our opponents. The free throw rates, we want to have the highest levels we can achieve. On our opponents, we want to decrease how many times they go to the free throw line. We want to have effective field goal percentage as high as we can get it, of course. And the opponent, we want to diminish their effective field goal percentage. The turnover rates, we want to have a low turnover rate. We want to increase their turnover rate. And then lastly, the offensive shooting strategy versus what we want from our opponents. What we've found in terms of success in an NBA program, in terms of win shares, are the more threes we can take, the more more threes we can make, take and make, the more times we can get shots at the rim, and the more times we can decrease the amount of mid-range shots. And conversely, what we might have is fewer threes made and taken for our opponent, no shots at the rim, which are high percentage shots, and we want to have them take as many mid-range shots as we can have them take. As you can see from this graph, pace of play will correlate almost directly with the number of threes taken. So the faster the game is, the more possessions we can get per game, the more threes we'll take. That does not equal wins or success, the pace of play, but it does increase the number of threes we take. So as you can see going here, the number of threes we make increases or correlates well with wins. So we can't make a lot of threes unless we take a lot of threes, and generally that means an increase in pace of play. So that's generally what we're after in terms of, among many other things, that's generally what we're after to increase our chance of success in the NBA. So the next thing is, how do we achieve the kind of skills that lead to these metrics over here? How do we develop those skills? Individually, we want to increase our shooting ability, our shooting effectiveness, particularly from the three-point line. So we have to emphasize shooting drills that increase the likelihood of success. So those would be corner threes, which are the threes with the highest percentage because they're closest to the hoop, dribble handoff three-pointers, and pull-up three-pointers. All of these are common three-pointers that we want to find in our offense. So we'll gear our offense to get those types of looks or opportunities for three-pointers. So we have to practice those the most with our players. For our bigs, for our tall players, our centers and our forwards, we want to emphasize the high pass, which would mean in a pick-and-roll situation, we've found that there's a high correlation of success, obviously with the three-pointers made, but also with shots that are close to the rim. So a high pass close to the rim in the pick and roll, we want to get as many high passes as we can get to our bigs to score at the rim. Similarly, in a pick and roll where the guard is going to make a pocket pass, we need to practice this as much as we can to develop this skill, the ability to come off the pick and roll, off the screen, to drop the pocket pass to the big so that he can score as close to the rim as possible. These are high percentage shots right there, and that's what we want. The percentage that we're chasing here is roughly 40%, which is difficult, but that's what's correlating with the highest success in the NBA for the most successful teams in recent past. Defensively speaking, we want to increase our defensive rebound rate, how many times we can get a rebound off the first miss, and decrease the offensive rebounding rate of the other team. In this case, if we get a defensive rebound, our likelihood of getting these types of shots here are much higher. And there's a lot of data on that I'll show you in our report. That means we want to give the teams defensively that we're defending, we want to give them nothing at the rim, we want to take that away, and we want to take three-point opportunities away, particularly from these types of threes. So we need drills defensively as a team to enhance these metrics. So overall, this is the entire analysis of an NBA program that is most likely to succeed, and this is what we want to instill in our players and for you, the coaches. Thank you.